Tomorrow morning at 4 o'clock, we are heading to Mokala National Park. This is going to be our first outing with the car. Well, in general, I've never done, I wouldn't say it's really overlanding, but it's the first step. And we kind of need to do this to figure out what do we need, how do we pack, what do we need to focus on in terms of our budget to really make our experience better. And trust me when I say we are really excited. I've done a few things just to make sure the vehicle's ready. I've made sure all the bolts are tightened on all the components that we might have messed with the upgrades. The final checks will be done tomorrow morning. One thing I'd like to mention is the GoPro and the phone have very small sensors, and I have tested them at night and the footage is terrible. So I'll do my best in post to make the footage look better, but expect the footage tomorrow morning to be not the best. And the same for me camping at night. Another thing to note is we have never done this type of trip before, so there's a lot of questions I have, and that will probably be answered during our experience tomorrow. But without further ado, join us tomorrow morning when we get ready to hit the road. It's around 4:30 a.m. when we got started with the last packing, and I started off by doing the morning dance with the vehicle, making sure it's in good condition for the trip. Started by checking the oil levels, and everything was good to go. Now we don't have a fridge, so we had to revert to the old school way of keeping all our food cold. Luckily it's only one evening that we're going to be out, but a fridge is definitely on the list, because if we do longer trips we're going to need that. I was trying to figure out the best way to pack everything, making sure it's all secure, since I had no idea what kinds of rough roads I might encounter. Now I completely understand why so many people invest in a drawer system. Just throwing everything in the back made me anxious. I am not a fan of disorganization. I made sure to pack the items I might need quick access to, like my Indie Flat, closer to the canopy openings. Once everything was packed and secured, it was finally time to hit the road. It was a chilly start to the day, so wife quickly jumped on the opportunity to turn on the seat heaters. We made good progress through the first leg of our journey, covering around 120 kilometers on tarred roads before veering off onto a quieter gravel track. Along the way we had a few encounters with some wildlife, and as the sun slowly rose it began to unveil the stunning landscape around us. The day was just beginning and our adventure was truly underway. We are on our way to Mokala National Park, and we are on a bit of a dirt road. It's our first dirt road. We left at 4 this morning. Guess you would have seen that already. And yeah, it's just an awesome morning. We're getting a bit of a sunrise there behind me. And I believe we have about an hour left to drive. Just stretching my legs, and I got a few drone shots. So yeah, I think this is going to be an awesome little excursion for us, and we are already learning so much about what we might need. For example, I need to get storage sorted out because it was absolute chaos storing everything. But it's time to hit the road again. We really want to get into the park and start that experience. Fuel consumption isn't too terrible. I should actually have a look real quick. At the moment I've done about 117 kilometers and I did 10.8. I feel I can do better than that, but I mean that's what I'm expecting because of the additional weight of the bull bar, canopy, bash plates, all that, and the tires obviously. So the sun has finally started rising. Since we got off the tar road, we travelled on a dirt road to Jakobsdal, where we had the roadblock. We then continued on to cross the Free State Northern Cape border, and then made our way to the Mokala National Park. So the road's getting much worse, and I think it's going to be quite a while before we get back to tar, if we even get back to tar. I haven't checked this route. We missed a turn, so we had to take a different route. And that's probably why we're hitting all these dirt roads, which is fine. That's exactly what I wanted. So it's really cool actually getting to experience this a bit and testing out the vehicle. And I'm going to get the Indeflate and use it for the first time just to check my tire pressures and drop them a bit so that they're not too high, because the road is pretty bad. I think I want to get it down to about 2 point. I think that's going to be fine. About 2.3. 2.3 should be good. With the tires aired down, the ride was way more smooth. It made all the difference. And now we make a beeline to the park. We've done it. We've entered Mokala National Park. The guys at the gate were very friendly. I had to disclose I had a drone, and they put it in a bag, and no drone, which is fine. That's something that I read, that is unfortunately one of those things. So we're in the park. We're cruising to reception now, and we're gonna get our permits, and then the fun begins. It's really cool. The car already looks all dusty. A lot of things I can already see that we will need to improve on and change, but that's for another time. I'm just gonna enjoy this drive right now. We finally arrived, and it was absolutely worth it. As soon as we entered the park, we were greeted by wildlife, setting the tone for an incredible experience. It was fascinating to watch the landscape gradually transform into the iconic African bushveld. Eager to get started, we head straight to the reception to pick up our permits, where we were met with excellent service and knowledgeable staff who made the process smooth and easy.
Mokala National Park. This is where you enter, and
Yes.
this is where we are now. So we need to get to the Motswedi campsite, which is there. So remember, all our boards have numbers on them. So on the road that you just came in, back for about 1 kilometer to number 2. Board number 2, you turn right. You follow this road all the way up to number 6, where you turn left. Past number 4, you'll be at the Motswedi campsite.
Okay,
So just to recap, 2, 6, 4.
I got you.
Okay.
What we're kind of planning is we're planning to do a bit of a loop during the day over here.
Yes.
And then around say 4 o'clock, we'll make sure we get back at the camp before 5.
Okay.
Is that what time do we have
We
to
close
be
at
off the
6.
road? Close at 6. So you can't be on the roads after 6.
Yes.
Okay.
But we do have night drives if you are interested in them,
Okay.
where you can see some of our nocturnal animals like the aardvark, the aardwolf,
Wow.
those type of animals.
The reception area is beautifully designed, and the staff are incredibly knowledgeable and helpful. I encourage everyone to support these parks by picking up some souvenirs. Even something as simple as the park guide which we bought can make a big difference. It also turns out to be really useful during our visit. Remember, respecting the park and the hard-working staff is crucial. They put in a tremendous effort to preserve these natural spaces for all of us to enjoy. After getting some great information and securing our permits, we were ready to start our adventure through the park. We are just so excited to get started. The thrill of spotting wildlife and soaking in the African landscape has us ready for the day's adventure. Our route will take us from reception past the first watering hole, hopefully with some wildlife sightings right from the start. Then we'll head to the Stofdam bird hide to see what that's about. I have never really been to a bird hide before, so that might be interesting. After that, we hit the 4x4 trail, which I'm especially excited about. We will then complete the Valbos loop and make our way to the lookout point. From there, we'll continue through the Gniki and Kameeldoring loops, followed by the Doringlaagte loop. Finally, we'll end our day at the Motswedi campsite. In total, it's about 83 kilometers of incredible landscapes, shifting and changing between diverse biomes. We made our way to the watering hole. We didn't stay long as it was dried up, which is expected. It is the end of the dry season for central South Africa. There were, however, some springbok and some kudus hanging around, so that was pretty cool to see. Eventually we got back on track though and made our way to the Stofdam bird hide, and that was a pretty cool experience. The bird hide was packed full of people, so you will hear some walking around. We were greeted by a little vervet monkey and made our way into the bird hide, where we saw some buffalo and some zebra. But I'll leave you to it so you can experience the sounds yourself. That was a really cool experience, being so close to these animals. We make our way back to the car for some lunch, and that's where I discovered the dust. There is dust everywhere, getting into my keyholes and all kinds of places. I'll definitely need to invest into a dust seal kit and get that sorted out. Today is a really packed day, so we just had a quick hot dog lunch before heading back onto the trail. We just finished at the Stoffdam bird hide. We had some food and just went into the bird hide. We had an awesome sighting of some buffalo and zebra, and it was really cool. We got in there and there was a bunch of people, and it's like that moment when you walk into a restaurant and everyone looks at you, and I was like, okay, but everyone was like dead quiet, so we just took on that role. I grabbed my phone and I got some really cool footage of that. So now we're on our way to the 4x4 trail, and I'm guessing there is going to be some sightings along the way. So we're on the 4x4 route now, or they call it the 4x4 loop. Not much 4x4 to be honest with you. Pretty sure I can do this with a Uno. We're about halfway around the loop now, and it really doesn't seem to be that difficult. So yeah, we're just gonna enjoy the ride, enjoy the scenery, and take it slow. But just for a bit of an update, not really much 4x4 happening here. One thing I've noticed doing this little trip is that there's a lot of dust, and I can imagine that this might not be the worst you can get. So I know I will need a snorkel at some point, but I just want to do a little bit more research because I know that can give you some cleaner air. Other than some loose sand, this isn't really much of a 4x4 trail, but the scenery is still just as amazing. And that wraps up the not so 4x4 route. Next we head to the Valbos loop, where the landscape dramatically shifts into a more grassland-like environment. It didn't take us long to figure out why this loop is named after the Valbos. It's literally everywhere. Strangely enough, this loop wasn't marked as a 4x4 route, even though the terrain started getting rougher than the actual marked 4x4 trail. An interesting fact is, all the external shots you've been seeing, we've been sticking out the tripod out the window to capture them because you're not actually allowed to get out of your vehicle, which I find pretty funny. But jokes aside, the Valbos Loop was absolutely stunning. While we didn't spot much wildlife, the diverse environment made for a fantastic drive. With the Valbos Loop concluded, we made our way to the viewpoint. It was really windy, but this was still pretty cool. It's in a wide open space with a watering hole right across from it. And luckily for us, there was quite a bit of wildlife around. It was getting late in the day, so we had to pick up the pace to make it back to our campsite before sunset. We pressed on, driving through Kniki, Kameeldoring and Doornlaagte loops, where we were lucky enough to spot even more wildlife, including a bucket list animal, the giraffe. Although the views weren't as great as what we experienced the next day, it still had us buzzing with excitement as we followed it around, trying to get a clear look. However, there's one group of animals that continued to evade us, the rhinos. Even though we weren't able to spot any rhino, we were still really happy with everything the day had to offer. It was just outstanding. We made it back to our campsite with time to spare, feeling satisfied with the adventure so far. So we have arrived at the campsite and everything is great. It looks awesome here. We saw a warthog at the watering hole a few minutes ago, and we'll show you around a bit later. But at the moment, what I would like to show you guys is the problem that we have with the dust. So obviously I don't have a dust seal kit for my tailgate, and that has now resulted in the whole cab at the back being full of dust. So that's something we need to address at some point. There's something to add to the list. We wasted no time getting everything set up at the campsite. After a rough week with very little sleep, I was really looking forward to just relaxing and taking it easy. This campsite turned out to be a hidden gem. It has everything you need: gas stove with gas, running water, hot showers, and even a working fridge. For the price, it was outstanding value. And to top it off, we even have our own private watering hole where animals would come by and hang out from time to time. If you live nearby, I highly recommend picking up the phone and reserving a spot. You won't be disappointed. Once we were settled in, we took a peaceful walk before starting a fire and just soaking in the quiet. It was also really awesome spending some quality time with wife. You get so used to the constant buzz of city life that you forget how refreshing and tranquil a place like this can be. There's a whole army of them marching across here. What birds are these?
I have no idea.
They want to see if we left any boerewors for them. I think it might be a brew. I'll show you in a second. Or an ostrich. Could it be an ostrich? No, it's a bit too small to be an ostrich. After being raided by what I believe were brews in the early morning, we got going and started packing for the day. Our plan was to complete the last 2 loops in the park, enjoy a breakfast at a picnic site, and most importantly, hopefully spot one of the elusive rhinos. One thing I forgot to mention is that we cheated a bit last night before bed and actually had a warm shower, which made a big difference. Tell you guys what, having a shower last night before we went to bed made such a huge difference. I really would like to get one of those portable showers one day with a little gas geyser that you get. I don't know if it's necessary. It's definitely not on top of the list, but it's on the list somewhere. We finished packing most of our stuff and we were ready to make our way to the picnic site. Unfortunately, just before we left, wife was brutally attacked by a vicious bug. The bugs are wild. They just attack humans out of the blue. Did you survive? And just like that, we left the Motswedi campsite behind and hit the trails, eager to spot more wildlife along the way. And let me tell you, we were not disappointed. Seeing that giraffe up close was incredible, but little did we know we'd have an even closer encounter later that day. Meanwhile, we kept a sharp eye out for the rhinos, driving slowly and peering through every opening we could find. And then we saw them, the rhinos. The excitement was unreal. Wife nearly climbed through the window. It was just an unforgettable moment watching these majestic animals going about their morning routine. After all that excitement, we were eager to get some breakfast in, so we made our way to the picnic site. We got settled, brewed some coffee, and whipped up an amazing breakfast, bacon, eggs and mushrooms. There's something special about being in the middle of nowhere and cooking up such a nice meal. After a great night's sleep, I felt completely refreshed. Honestly, this moment, just enjoying the simple pleasures in such an incredible setting, was the best part of the trip for me. This is really an eye-opener for me. I can't believe I haven't been doing this. And I mean, this is the first campsite. This is not the first, this is the first outing, really. And we spoke to some people before and they said that You can see everything in one day at Mokala. If you really take the time to look and to appreciate everything about this place, it's going to take you more than a day. This is our second day, and this is an unexplored area for us. And the whole of yesterday, we arrived around 8 o'clock, maybe 8:30, and we drove around the whole day. Basically explored the entire northern area of the park, which was stunning on its own. And the nice thing is there's so much different landscapes, biomes if you will, in this one park. You get the grasslands, you get a little bit of mountainous hilly area, you get this more of a shrubland mixed with a grassland, I guess, or shrubland I think. It's stunning, it truly is stunning, and I can't believe I've been missing out on this. I can't believe it. One thing I've realized is that I need a better way to charge all my stuff. Phones, cameras, gimbals, drones, all that. Because we don't have any way to charge the equipment. We have my car, which has a few USBs, and that's kind of what I've been using now. We have some power banks. I have a little solar panel, which I'm going to make use of right now. But other than that, we don't have a little portable inverter or a power system in the vehicle. And that's something that I probably would add higher to my list of things to get, because it's quite essential to keep all the equipment charged. And that reminds me now, I need to actually change my battery in my GoPro. This was charged in the car and it's actually full, but it took some time. This is something I haven't covered before, really. I might have mentioned it. It's a solar panel and it's straight to USB. Not very efficient, not really. I'd say you can't use this as your main power source, but you know, it's perfect just to get something, because it does charge up things perfectly fine. It's just not big enough to really fast charge anything quickly, but it's something I'm definitely going to use right now just to charge up one of our power banks. One bit of information that we learned about when we got here is this bag. So when you get here, you are obligated to disclose what you have, and because I think this goes for firearms, drones, there might be some other things. Just find out when you get here by the gate. They put that item into a bag like this and they lock it with this little tab. Now this tab can break very easily, so you must be very gentle with it. And then when you leave, they have a look and see if the tab has been broken. And this is just something that I thought I'd let you guys know, because we learned about this when we got here. Important bag, important tab, don't break the tab. This is the best part of it.
What?
Quiet. After finishing breakfast, we took some time to look through the excellent guide we picked up at reception. I have to say, the facilities at the campsite and picnic areas are so well maintained. It really makes the experience that much better. A little fun fact, the name Mokala comes from the Setswana word for the magnificent camel thorn tree. Some of these trees are over 300 years old, with their iconic umbrella-shaped crowns dotting the landscape. With that knowledge in mind, we continue our adventure and head towards the environmental center and then the Motswedi loop. We just left the Matopi picnic site after having a lovely breakfast. There's just one thing I want to correct, or at least advise on, and that is, if you come here with your polo, now bear in mind we did see a polo, it is possible. Just have a look and make sure you keep your speed up, because there is some sections here that have some real soft sand. But it's possible, and we've seen them do it. The idea is, you don't need to limit yourself because you don't have a vehicle. Any standard two-wheel drive vehicle should be able to do this. I think even if you come with a Porsche, you might be able to do it. But yeah, we're on our way now. We're going to complete this loop, and we're going to go past the environmental center and see what that's all about. But hopefully we still get some nice sightings on this drive. We made our way to the environmental center, which is packed with a wealth of fascinating information. It really adds character to this incredible park. I won't give away all the details, so I highly encourage everyone to make this stop on their visit. Mokala is SANParks' newest park, officially proclaimed in June 2007 and nestled between the Karoo and Kalahari biomes. It plays a crucial role in the regeneration of valuable species. Mokala is home to an impressive variety of wildlife, including black and white rhino, buffalo, tsessebe, roan and sable antelope, mountain reedbuck, giraffe, gemsbok, eland, zebra and many more. As we wrap up our journey, we were lucky enough to have some incredible animal encounters. As we make our way out of the park, we were greeted by one of the most incredible encounters. And just like that, we say goodbye to the friendly staff, the incredible facilities, and Mokala National Park, and make our way back to Bloemfontein. Unfortunately, our trip at Mokala has to come to an end. But I can tell you one thing, they'll be seeing us again. I'm going to air up my tires before we get to the main road because they're still really soft. So I'm going to test out the Indiflate with my cheapo pump compressor. The last of the tires are getting aired up. We definitely need to get a new compressor. That one is not going to work. Unfortunately, we have to bid farewell to Mokala National Park. It's been amazing. This will definitely not be the last time they see us here. We might come here without the cameras, or we might come here with the family. It was an amazing experience, and we're going to finish up the tires and then it's off to Bloem.